Alrighty, let's finish the fingers. Okay, so oops, I don't think. Okay. Oh. Okay. All right. So we have our 3 fingers here. We need to basically, we're going to combine them and then extrude them out to make the rest of the hand. So what you want to do is select all 3, and then we're going to do mesh combine. Click on this orange piece of paper or mesh combine. Okay, so now they are one piece. And we're going to do much like we did before, where we're going to loft surfaces, okay, or bridge surfaces. So go to edge. So you have edge selected, right click, drag up to edge. I'm going to click this one and this one, and I'm going to bridge it to this one and this one. And then I'm going to hit this little band-aid button, which is bridge. Okay? And basically it's just going to go from here to there. On this end looks like here to here. Same thing here. Oops, this to this. And this, oops, not that guy. And this to this. And then we'll just hit. If you want to repeat the last action that you did, not the last tool, this is an action. Like I didn't do anything other than select something and say do it. It's G. G is repeat the last action. Okay, so we did G. And that will loft across that. And good. So now that looks okay. So let's start building out the palms. We basically got to here. So I'm going to double click on this edge loop. And I want to extrude. So I'm just going to hit the extrude button. It's this one. And you're going to hit the move tool, W, and pull it out. And pull it out roughly, let's say about that much. Okay? And here's the thing. If we look at the number of edges here, you can see there's quite a few. And again, I'm going to run into that problem where I'm going quite a few into quite a few less. So to know the number, actually, instead of trying to manually count, there's actually a little trick you can do. You can go to display, heads up display, and poly count. And what that's going to do is it's going to put this up here. You don't need it for any other times, but while you're modeling, this is very useful. So it'll give you the total verts, edges, faces, tris, and UVs in the scene, meaning the entire scene. This is how many there are of those. So in this model, this model, this model, it's 464. Now, the next thing it does, I'm going to double click on this, is this column. This is for what you have selected. So the object that I'm currently on has 179 vertices total, blah, 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 blah. And then the last one is the components that are currently selected. So currently, when I double click on this edge loop, there are 14 edges. This has 8, right? So that's not going to work. I need to break that down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one here, and we're going to use this button. So this is collapse. So it's probably edit mesh and collapse. All it does is literally take whatever you have grabbed and merge it into one thing. So if I grab this and hit collapse, this button, it's just going to take and put those there. Okay. Now if you remember, I just told you that hotkey. If I hit G, it'll repeat the last action. Click G. Now if I double click, you'll see I have 10. So I'm still too many, but I'm getting closer. So with that selected, I'm just going to go ahead and extrude out again. Hit extrude. Hit W for the move tool. I'm going to push it back. I want you to push it back as far as it needs to go for where the thumb is going to come out. Okay, so this is the space in between. So I'm just going to push this back. We'll say it's there. Okay. See, that's acceptable. And then I'm trying to think, do I want to do that there or not? We'll leave it like that for now. Then what we're going to do is I need to have the space where the thumb is going to go in. So I'm going to hit extrude again, W for the move. And I want this to be what the thickness of my thumb is going to be. So that's how wide that should be. I actually feel like that's a little too much. Okay. So this is where my thumb's going to come out. So I'm going to grab this again. Control. Oops. You can hit Control E. It's also extrude, but I don't want to give you too many hotkeys. And this will be for where the thumb comes back to the wrist. So this will come all the way like this. And then I'm just going to kind of hit R to scale in kind of like that. Okay. So now I need to put my thumb right here. All right. So to put the thumb there, I need to make a hole. So I'm going to click on this and this. Notice where I'm selecting. It's on the center line here, okay? Those two, hit delete. That leaves me, if you look, that's 6, which is 6, okay? Now, if you look at your thumb, most of the joints are actually down in here, so we don't actually need this last little bit here. So you can take this part out. That's not doing anybody any good. And so yeah, sorry, I did that kind of quick. So just go to face, and then I just kind of clicked and dragged, make sure I got everything I needed, and deleted. But so the first 2 chunks here, I want to leave the joint part. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to bring this over. And if you were to look at your hand, right, so we're not modeling a perfect hand, we're kind of modeling it at a plane, but even if it is at a plane, see the thumb kind of comes down and we're going to go down like this, down at an angle, okay? So that's what I'm going to be shooting for. So remember, this is the top of the thumb. So I'm going to hit, that'd be really weird, right? You can't even make your thumb do that. So I'm going to rotate this like this, and then I'm going to rotate it down like so. And then I'm just going to move it over and down kind of like that. Move it down a little bit more maybe. So I'm just trying to get it to basically go down and over. Hopefully you kind of see that. So these are the top faces of it, okay? Hopefully you can see what that is. All right. So now we can just go ahead and attach this. So I have this selected, select this, and we need to combine it before we can merge before they can share components. So hit combine, go to edge, double click, hold shift, double click. Okay, try that again. This, double click, there we go. And we're going to hit bridge, and good. Now remember again, if for some reason yours is weird, just go ahead and twist until it's right. But basically I want the top to go up to here, okay? Okay. And that looks fine. Now, I'm just going to show you another tool that can be useful. If you look, see there's a big kind of like gap or big area here. It doesn't look that great. I'm going to go ahead and actually just fix this a little bit by moving this over here. And then I'll take this and maybe move that this way just a little bit. I'll take these two and I'm going to push this down a little bit. Maybe grab these two as well and push this also down a little bit just so that it looks a little more thummy. Go ahead and push that down. So I'm going to do what we call slide edge. So if I want to take this edge and I want to move it inwards, right, it's not going to look that great. But what I can do is double click on it and then go to mesh tools and you'll see slide edge. Select that and it'll say drag with middle mouse button to slide. So click in your middle mouse button, the wheelie ball, and just drag left and right. And you'll see it's going to slide across the surface between this one and this one. I'm just going to kind of go about halfway like that, and that'll just slide it up and make it a little bit easier to work with. And then I'm just going to grab this, maybe pull this down a little bit, and I'm going to take this one and move this over down a little bit. All right, so this is a very low poly hand, so you know, there's a limit, obviously, to how good this can look. If you want to make like a really nice looking hand, it would take a lot more geometry, and then our whole character would be a lot higher poly. And we're trying to keep it as low poly as possible, because the higher number of polygons that you have, the more difficult it's going to be to work with. So we want to keep it as low as possible, and then you build up, so if we want to. But we're going to try and keep it low the whole time, just because low poly characters, again, are just easier. And since this is intro, even making a character is sort of advanced. Okay. So, we now got that. But again, we're still running through the whole thing where... Come on. Really? All right. Where this is... let me look at you. 10, right? And it needs to go into 8. So, if you look, you can see on the sides, this makes sense. So, I got these two, and I got these two. And on the other side, same thing. But on the top, there's 3, and here there's 2 edges. So this is where the problem is. So I'm just going to do that collapse thing right here. So I'm going to select this edge, and don't select 2 at a time, because watch, it'll merge them together. Wait, did that work still? Oh, that actually looks okay. All right, never mind. You can do that. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm still going to do one at a time. I don't feel right about it. Okay, so I'm select this one. I'm going to hit collapse, and then select this one, and I'll just hit G to collapse. And I think that's fine. So we'll just do those 2 here, and select this and hit G. And then select this one and hit G. All right. Now you might be looking at this and going, "Hey, there's tries there. That's no good." So we can fix that. That's relatively easy. So what you're going to want to do is just go to the multi-cut tool, hold Control, and see where the triangle is here. And I'm on the not thumb side. I'm going to click here, like that. And then I'm just going to go to Vertex and select this one. Just move it over a little bit, like so. You see? Oh, it's a quad. And same thing here. Move it over a little bit. And then I'm just going to take, since it's kind of, see how close these are, I'm going to take these 3 here. I'm just going to move these over here. And they'll just kind of further develop out like our palm of this part. Okay. Now we also have tries here. Some tries are okay, but we can actually fix this the exact same way. So we have 2 ways, well, we have a bunch of ways of doing it, but we're going to do this way. So I'm going to use that multi-cut tool again. And I'm just going to go here and hit Control, hold Control, and click. And now you can see, I'm going to grab this one, and I'm just going to go ahead and move it down and in a little bit. This one and this one. See? And we're going to move it up and in a little bit. And that'll help it look a little bit more curved there, so it's not so put across. But you can see that that is also 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it says 16. Sorry, 4. It's because it's being subdivided when you hit the 3 button. All right. So now you have a hand. All right, give yourself a hand. Sorry. Okay, so I need to delete these faces. So I'm going to go to the guy here, go to faces, hold tab, click and drag, delete. Okay, so now I got myself a hole, and I got myself a hand. So what I'm going to do, I don't like where the pivot of this is, so I'm going to hold D and V. And just another little trick. If you click in the middle mouse button, kind of wiggle, it'll snap to wherever your mouse is. So instead of having to drag this over, if I go middle and just wiggle, if I go over here in middle and wiggle, just middle click and wiggle, it'll come over. Or you can just drag it if it doesn't work either. Okay. I'm going to hold D again and just push this down so it's more in the center. All right. Pull this up and over. Going to go like that. And his hand looks like it's perfectly the right size, right? What is going on there? At some point, I must have accidentally deleted this. I don't remember doing that, but I'll have to fix that after. Wait a minute. I bet I just did it when I deleted this. Hang on. I did. How did that happen? Well, see, you got to be careful. So with this guy selected, actually, I'm going to undo. So go ahead and undo until those come back. So it's just Z or Control Z, Command Z, whatever works for you. I'm going to put on symmetry as well, because right now symmetry's not on. Object X. I'm going to go to face, and I'm just going to click, 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 click. I don't know why that got deleted. Okay. And we're going to go back to object. And now I'm going to take this and D and V, pull that up there. Oops. Hold D without the V, and just kind of put that in the center-ish. Okay. So I'm just going to put this up here, and you can tell actually that obviously that hand is way too big. I feel like the arm's actually a little bit big too. So I'm going to go to Vertex. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to move this in a little bit. I'm going to scale the wrist down a little bit this way. And then if you were to look at your wrist, it's obviously, I don't know if you can tell, but it's very ovular. It's an ellipsoid. So I'm just going to scale it like this as well. All right, so that should hopefully make it fit. Then I'm going to take this guy, we'll bring it over here. And this obviously needs to be scaled down quite a bit. So I'm going to have to eyeball it. So we'll just go with that. That's fine. All right. And just make sure the positioning and everything looks okay. And we're just going to combine these two. So select both. Do mesh combine. Great. I'm going to go to edges. Double click on this edge. Hold shift. Double click on this edge. And hit bridge. Yay. Okay. We now have a hand. Now you're going to see, hey, it's not on the other side, even though we did the mirroring thing. It's because we didn't do it on the model. We just like attached it, so the other side doesn't have it. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did before. So I'm going to go to Object and just go off for the symmetry. And we're just going to go ahead and flip this. So I'm just going to go to the front view here. And I'll show you a little trick, actually. So instead of having to click and drag across the whole side there, if you click on one thing, I'm going to hit Q, so you can, and then if I hold shift and double click this one, it'll grab the whole line of whatever that is. And that works for everything. So like if I go to vertex, if I click here and hold shift and double click this, it'll grab that ring of vertices, right? So it'll follow the path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, because this is the left half. I'm going to hold shift and double click, and that's going to go all the way around, okay? And then I'm going to hit delete, and you can see it removed that face that went all the way around. And now, if I double click in here, it's going to grab everything that's attached to it. Since it's no longer, they're all part of the same model, but it's not sharing any components, it doesn't bleed in there. And then I'll just hit delete. And now I got half the dude gone. So I'm going to switch back over to object mode, and I'm just going to hit Control Shift D. And I'm going to undo that because when I combine this, the pivot got moved. So I'm going to hold D and V and just snap it. Now hit Control Shift D. There we go. Select both. Mesh combine. Go to vertex. Drag over the whole dude. And we want to hit merge, which is it this one? They change the icons like every version. This is totally not what it is. Okay, so this is merge. Remember, we already set that setting up last time. So I'm just click on that, and that will just go ahead and merge the vertices. And just to make sure it worked, you can click, select it, and hit 3. And it should be smooth. If you see a line here, it means the vertices did not merge. But you can see that they did, in fact. Okay. So now we have our dude. Go ahead and save the next version. We should have been saving the whole time, so I'm just going to, I already saved it as 4, but I'll save it again. So now we have sort of complete dude. You can see he's pretty close. We just need to, basically, I just want to add a little bit more geometry to just kind of further develop the body. And then that'll be it. So we'll end this one here, and then the next one we'll kind of finish up the body, sort of. Obviously, we need to like make clothes and things like that, sort of, but you'll see.